This TikTok shows parents of young black girls posting videos of their children reacting to Disney's live-action The Little Mermaid, where a black actor, Halle Bailey, is acting as Ariel. Just a year ago, the video was shared across TikTok and other social media with hashtags like #RepresentationMatters, emphasizing the importance of diverse castings of actors in children's film and media. The trailer on YouTube has a whopping 29 million views and 1.2 million likes. The film created a lot of happiness in the black community, especially young black girls, as seen in the video, and was seen as a big stride in representation at the time. Some were also confused about the methods of representation, but there was also a lot of controversy. So it is very wholesome to see at least some sort of representation in film, and to see children's faces light up when they see a character like them on screen. The kids' reactions to the trailer illustrate this problem of poor representation perfectly, hence their excited reactions. The problem with representation these days in movies is that there isn't good representation. Having bad representation creates inaccuracy and creates stereotypes. So there was a study done by Eliza N. Broomberg-Gaber, and Gaber illustrates many different negative consequences of poor representation by interviewing college students. First, they reported that it enforces negative stereotypes, and they felt like they had to act against them. One quote from the article is, they had to either act exactly like, or they tried to act completely differently to get around that stereotype. This shows that the character is not an accurate depiction of them, their race, or who they even are. This means they felt pressure to rebel against that idea that was created by society, or by people who don't know anything about them. Bad representation makes people internalize negative stereotypes portrayed to them on screen by people who don't know too much about who they are. It makes society as a whole who consume film and media think the same things about them, therefore creating either lowered expectations of them whenever they see someone of their race, or heightened expectations of them which do not accurately depict them in the way that they want to be viewed, thus creating an internal and societal conflict, which shows that bad representation exists and it is very bad for people's self-esteem. For example, in the article it states, one participant mentioned that she felt like she needed to act like Raven from That's So Raven because that was the depiction she had of how to act like a black female. Many Latinas mentioned being called Dora all the time in school and felt as if they needed to lower their voice and not to be loud, like Gloria from Modern Family. In addition, the people who were interviewed also mentioned it caused them to internalize self-hatred as children because of damaged self-esteem and feelings of isolation. The article states, because they never saw themselves represented and felt like they didn't get the message that they were normal, not having that had such a huge impact on them personally. Another participant mentioned that for young children to not see themselves on screen honestly is so detrimental, because then it just sends this inherent message that they're not on the same level of human as these other people, which goes into the next point, which is by always placing white people into the narrative, it normalizes that white people are the norm, when in fact there are so many people like them living in the US. So I have two proposed solutions for this problem. The broad idea is create original stories. Don't write characters in the thought process of, oh, I need more representation in movies, let's just add a minority character. To solve the problem of terrible representation, there are two ways it can happen. First, the problem can be seen in the entertainment industry. There is a lack of diversity and there are many racial disparities. The first way to create more original stories is by creating more movie directors that are people of color, by encouraging creative minority youth to be inspired by film and go into the industry, because in 2022, approximately 17% of film directors in the United States were part of ethnic minorities, while the remaining 83% were still white. So more people of color need to go in the film industry to create more stories that represent them. Most of the time, the creative direction of the movie is mostly handled by white males. They have full control of the story and what direction the movie goes. That means they can also write stories about minorities that are accurate and put minorities in a positive light to empower them. Another solution for creating good stories surrounding minority characters to illustrate their stories. This can be achieved through funding investors' personal money and motivated people of color who are entrepreneurs, filmmakers, videographers, costume designers, or any other people that are needed to make a movie. Create movies where the protagonist is a minority and they have a good plot surrounding their character. By creating minority-led companies and having more minority film directors in the film industry can help solve the problem. The target market is minority children because they internalize messages more at a young age, and minorities aren't represented in the film industry. It is estimated that in 2020, children between the ages of 5 and 8 spend an average of 3 hours of screen time every day. 73% of that time was spent watching television, films, and other videos. In 2022, kids' fiction movies sold just over 123 million tickets across the United States and Canada, up from around 65 million a year earlier, an annual increase of almost 100%. Another reason to prove that there is a target market for minority children is that between 2014 and 2020, movies rated PG accounted for at least 1/5 of the box office revenue in the United States and Canada. They need the solution because they will be negatively affect self-esteem and how they will believe in them. They will also see themselves like aliens that do not belong in society, which can ruin their social and emotional well-being, their social lives, etc., and their belonging in society and their ability to offer good to society and create change. More minorities need to be in the film industry, and minorities need their own film production companies to have more creative freedom over their projects and create stories that resonate with people like them. Enforcing positive messages when children are young will do children more good. Their brains absorb the most information from the ages of when they're a baby to when they're 6 years old, since that is when their brains grow the most. During a 2022 survey of parents in the United States, it was found that children 8 years and younger spent 105 minutes a day watching TV, DVDs, and videos. That means what they absorb growing up really matters because that is what they'll end up believing about themselves and about society as a whole for the rest of their lives.